Hey guys, Scott here again with a new video for you. Today what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about Trappist beers, and more specifically, and with most of the Trappist beers, you're going to see many of them are in Belgium, with the Belgian style of Trippel beer. And for those of you who are just watching me for the first time that don't know too much about me, I've been home brewer for roughly on and off for 25 years. A couple of years ago during COVID, I kind of got a passion, learned about the Certified Cicerone program, started studying my butt off for a long time, lots of information. Some of you may be Certified Cicerones Advanced or even Master Cicerones. Took the written test last year, got a 94, which I was really happy with. Haven't sat with for the tasting yet. I feel I'm ready for the tasting. Some of you may be aware the program had a problem getting dates up that fit my schedule. It wasn't really their problem. They just, it was tough getting dates up during COVID because you have to sit there personally and do a whole tasting portion of it and all flavor spikes. And then I ran into some issues and I couldn't sit for it. So once I feel I can get to one of these dates and physically get there, I'm going to take it. So let's talk about, Trappist beers. Like I said, Trappist is kind of like, the Champagne Valley in France. It's kind of a appellation, if you want to say that, it's not really an appellation, it's not a region like Italy has appellations or France. But to be a Trappist brewery, okay, you have to, one, brew on the confines of the monastery. Trappists are from the Cistercian order of Trappist monks and the monasteries that go with them. And to be a brewery, you have to have the brewery on the grounds of the monastery. The monks are also going to have to oversee or brew the beer themselves, and then all the money's made either has to support the monastery or the surrounding area. And if you get that, it gives you a little stamp that you can put on your bottles and call yourself a genuine Trappist brewery. And I have one of my future videos coming up. I have a West Vletterland 12, courtesy of friends Bob and Mark. You know who you are. I'm going to give you guys more of a shout out when I actually do that video. It's a Belgian dark strong, and it's from West Vletterland 12. It's a very difficult beer to get a hold of. It's ranked 100 out of 100 on Beer Advocate, and it's, again, more on that later. So that's to get the Trappist stamp. Now, other people are making those Belgian style of beers that are Trappist styles of beer, if I can kind of misspeak for a second. Like I said, Trappist beer is not one particular type of beer. There's abbeys like St. Bernardus, which is a common one, which you can find very easily at unlike West Vletterland, you can find very easily at your store that make it. Tripel Carmelite, which will make this style called Trippel here. They are not a Trappist brewery, but they'll make the same style. So it's not a law, but you just can't use that particular label for it. Most of these breweries, Trappist breweries, are in Belgium. Okay, there's roughly 170 Trappist monasteries in the world. I forget what count we're at now. It fluctuates. It was 12 or 13 Trappist breweries that met that criteria. There's West Vletterland, Westmalle, Rochefort, La Trappe, which is in the Netherlands. Chimay, which is a real big one. That one you can find a lot of their beers at your local beer store. They're easily. Orval is a special type of beer. They use Brettanomyces, which is a bacteria that, not bacteria, it's a organism that's going to give you that barnyard horse blanket thing. I'll probably do a video on that too. But very interesting stuff with the breweries. I said La Trappe, Akel, which is no longer technically, they still make beer, but they're no longer technically a Trappist brewery anymore. Rochefort, if I didn't say, I'm probably missing one. There's one in Italy. I don't recall the name. There used to be one in the United States. Spencer, their monastery still there in Massachusetts. They don't make beer anymore. And I think if I didn't say, Akel was one also in Belgium that no longer is a Trappist brewery. They lost some of didn't abide by the rules. So again, roughly 170 monasteries and roughly 12 or 13. Now, like I said, a lot of breweries, like the one I have for you today, which is kind of blasphemous that I have Victory Golden Monkey that kind of fits the style guidelines for a Trippel very closely. I will show you my authentic one from my refrigerator here when I do the Belgian Dark Strong. when I say these styles like Belgian Dark Strong or Belgian Golden Ale or whatever, Belgian Triple Double, these are in the what they call the BJCP booklet. You can get it free online, Brewing Judge Certification Program, and they're guidelines that they're not the law, like say the Reinheitsgebot in Germany, to how brewers have to make the beer, but there's certain guidelines that I think are important because you're a consumer going into a microbrewery and you're expecting a stout and you're getting something golden color, or you're expecting a triple and you're getting something that tastes like an imperial stout. Like, you want them to be somewhere in the ballpark. So as a consumer, when you're looking at the menu, you know. So this BJCP guideline booklet has all the guidelines. And that's what we study in the Certified Cicerone program, as well as the BJCP. The people are being judges for beer competitions will do. So with these beers, these Belgian style Trappist beers, or domestic versions of it, or Abbey versions of the beer, there's certain things that are similar. A lot of times first of all, there's nothing single, double, triple about any of these, even though they're named that way. There is an escalation alcoholic strength with all of them. And really where the alcoholic strength is coming is most of them will use some type of sugar. Now in Belgium, I'm sure they're using Belgium golden sugar or candy sugar. The dark ones are probably using dark candy sugar. And so you understand the difference is the typical beer, when we take the grains, the malted barley, and we mash it. And again, I may do a video if people are interested about just the general things about brewing. I said I've been home brewing for a long time. They'll mash the grains, and it makes that thick syrup. And depending on how they mash it, and depending on how the yeast is, there's usually some carbohydrate left behind in the beer, which adds some mouthfeel, and it gives you more of a heavier feel to the beer. When they add sugar, the yeast eat all of the carbohydrate, and they leave nothing behind for the most part. And that's why they use the candy sugar. It boosts the alcohol strength, as well as it drinks very smooth. It doesn't seem like it's as strong as it really is. So you'll have a beer that's 10% alcohol, 11% alcohol. And some of you who have had New England IPAs or other double IPAs, specifically in the United States, you drink that, you're like, man, I can't handle that too much. It's like heavy. Or an imperial stout, right? The mouthfeel is very high. These are typically high alcoholic strength, but they don't drink like it. You drink it and you're like, man, this is going down way too easy. But what does happen, like I said, is the alcoholic strength. Like a Belgian single, which now believe we call them Belgian extra, is 4.8 to 6% alcohol. The Belgian double, D-U-B-B-E-L, it's not Dubel, I may have just misspelled that, is about 6 to 7.5% alcohol. I think 7.6 to be exact alcohol. The Belgian triple, which we have here, ranges between 7.5 to 9.5% alcohol. And the Belgian dark strong, which looks more dark amber to brown, a medium brown hue to it, which I'll show you when I do my Westfalen 12, those could be up to 12% alcohol, usually 8 to 12%. So you can see the escalation in alcoholic strength. Other things that are common in these Belgian beers, whether you get them domestically or you get them from Belgium, whether it's the Trappist Brewery or the Abbeys, they're usually very highly carbonated. Okay, sometimes there's draft systems that can't even handle it. That's why sometimes they'll bottle condition the beer. And again, that may be for another video, but bottle conditioning is besides pumping CO2 into the beer, they put some priming sugar right when they're packaging the beer in a bottle. And what's yeast is left will eat the sugar. CO2 hits the top of the bottle cap or cork. There's sometimes a Cajun cork, almost like champagne in some of these that you'll see. And the CO2 drops back into solution until it's balanced. And that's how they can get these things very highly carbonated. And some draft systems can't handle it. And so that's why some of these are. But the thing with bottle conditioning, sometimes you'll see a yeast sediment at the bottom. So if you don't like that yeast sediment, I usually encourage people to use the yeast sediment in something like a German Hefeweizen has yeast sediment that are bottle conditioned. You may want to pour it to just before the end. Or any of your home brewers, you do this with the home brew, or any of you have had my home brew, you pour it till the last little bit, the yeast. Because some styles you want the yeast, some styles, it's your personal preference. You want to leave it behind a little bit. Again, I'm not going to go down a wormhole of explaining the bottle conditioning and flavors you can get with that yeast sediment, but you may want to pour it off. So Many of them at your local beer store, you get them in the bottle, Chimay, Rochefort, there will be a little yeast sediment at the bottom. Don't be afraid by it. It's not going to make you sick, okay? You may actually enjoy it. You may want to taste it, pour it off of it, and then do it later. So again, most of these are effervescent. They're highly carbonated, a little higher in alcohol than your typical beer. They're usually brewed with Pilsner malt and those candy sugars, like I said. Hops are usually not that important. This one I have today, it has Tettnang hops, which is a German noble hop. It helps just balance the bitterness a little bit. Put it at the beginning of the boil, add some bitterness to try to balance the sweetness of the beer, just enough, but you're not going to even notice it like the IPAs. But remember, the hops also give flavor. These styles are really not going to have much hop flavor, and they're really going to have very low hop aroma. I misspoke slightly because the Belgian Trippel, which I have today, has a little bit more bitterness than some of the other Belgian styles, okay? And that's going to help with food pairings and things like that. So we have the Belgian single or Belgian extra. We have the Belgian double, Belgian triple I have here for you today. There are many other Belgian styles that you have out there, but I just want to kind of give you a little bit of taste. So if you're shopping at your store, you understand, you're not scared by it. The Belgian single and triple are going to be more gold, pale straw to gold color. Like I said, the double and the quad are going to be more brownish color. And don't be scared off. It's not going to be like drinking, if you don't like porters or stouts, it's not drinking that type of beer. Be a little adventurous. Okay, try something different. This one in general, which I'm going to pour a little bit more because I lost a little bit of my head as it's been sitting here warming up. And while I'm thinking about that, a lot of these beers, usually as the alcoholic strength goes up and the color goes up, we may serve them a little warmer. But it's all personal preference. I usually tell, that could be like 52 degrees, 55 degrees may be ideal. It allows you to kind of brings out the malt profile, what hops are there, and all the other flavors that go with it. If you have a lighter style beer, like either the triple or the single, or I'm not going to talk about Saison today, you may want them colder, maybe 48 degrees or 46 degrees. I usually err on the side of being a little colder, and you can always warm them up in your glass or just kind of hold it a little bit and warm them up. With this beer, the other thing about Belgian style beers, they're usually heavy on the yeast kind of profile or characteristics that yeast give. What are things you're going to get in this beer today? What are yeast things? When I say yeast things, you may get more esters like banana. If you're familiar with German Hefeweizen, which has that banana and clove smell, the esters from the banana, you're going to get a little bit of an orange on the back taste of it. So kind of fruity kind of taste. There's no fruit in it, okay, unless you add fruit, which I don't recommend, but fruit in it. You're going to get phenols or phenolic character to it. You may get, in this beer today, it's going to have more clove, which is 4-vinyl guaiacol, which if you have, again, the German Hefeweizen, you may smell clove. This one's going to have a little peppery, more phenols to it, like kind of a peppery taste and smell. Some of these adjectives may not sound pleasurable to you, but they really add to the complexity of these beers. So again, isoamyl acetate is the biochemical, or I should say the organic chemical that kind of gives you more of the ripened banana type of smell and flavor. Again, German Hefeweizen will do very similar things to you with the yeast. Okay, these are not going to be dominant with hops or even malt in general. It's going to be kind of more of a yeast type of profile to it. I don't want to say yeasty because I don't want to give you the image that you're drinking and you're feeling like sludge, like yeast, right, in your mouth. Okay, so this one, again, I lost some of the head, is the Belgian Trippel. Now, when I smell this one, I still get, some of that biscuity bread crust type of smell. I can definitely get some of the pepper, phenolic, little clove to it, and some of that ripened banana, no doubt. I take a sip, even with this beer sitting around for a while here at my table, it's still very carbonated, which would be very good for food pairing. Like I said, it's, when in doubt, get a Belgian beer for pairing with food because of the carbonation, the bitterness in some of them help kind of wash and cleanse your palate a little bit. I get a little bit of that candied orange kind of peel on the back end of the taste. There's a little creaminess on the back back end of it when I taste it. This is definitely a little bit warmer than when I first poured it. This one again is about 9.5% alcohol, usually over about 7%. You'll get a little bit of that alcoholic warmth too, that little kind of that burn. You want to be careful consuming these, all right? One or two will go a long way when you're having them. Don't drink these like Budweiser or Molson or whatever you have there sitting at like 4 or 5% alcohol. So again, very, kind of enjoyable Belgian beer, Belgian Trippel. This one again from Golden Victory, Golden Monkey. You can get other versions. Our local, if you live in the area, give a shout out again to my brewery that's only about a half a mile away. I could probably get there in no time. Who does a Belgian Trippel too. It does a very good version. Actually, I think I may even have one in my refrigerator, one of his crowlers in there. But Triple Carmelite, if you're at the local beer store, sticking with the Trappist beer, Belgian Double. If you get the red label of Chimay, you get the blue label of Chimay at the beer store, is a Belgian Dark Strong. You get Rochefort, makes a 6, a 10, and a 12. The 6, I believe, is the triple. Oh, no, 6 is the double. The 8 and the 10, I believe, are the Belgian Dark Strong. I could be misspeaking there, so you don't have to correct me. I'm probably going to correct myself after watching this if I got those numbers wrong. But there are other versions from Belgium for that. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully, you find some of these valuable, maybe makes you a little more inclined to try a Belgian variety. I know all of us are kind of consumed with IPAs these days. And that's pretty much it. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. The Belgian Dark Strong West Flederland 12 is coming up, hopefully in the next several days. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.